Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Quick and Carry Kitchen. I'm Kristen Madrine, and I have a great little recipe to work with you today on. This is for your Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe you have plans already for a get-together and you're wondering what to bring. This is a great little recipe. And the whole reason I'm doing this is because it's a recipe in two parts. We cook in the pot, open the pot up, and then put the meatballs in. So, I want to welcome all of you who are joining us live. Welcome. And I want to say hello to all of you who are joining us later. We know that a lot of you are faithful watchers of the show when you get home from work or on Saturday sometime. So we want to say hello to all of you who watch when we're not live. So I have in front of me our Quick and Carry tongs, and I'm going to give away a set of tongs this week to one of you who comments down below. Tell us, how cold is it where you're at today? It's 7 degrees here, and it's like balmy, sunshine, gorgeous day, and we cannot believe it. The kids have not been in school in northern Michigan since a week ago Thursday, and today they finally got to go back to school. We have had winter storms, we've had bitter, bitter cold. I have about 20 inches of snow on my back porch, and we have really had a terrible winter week. So I want to know how it is where you live. Tell us. Hi, Lena. How are you? Lori Stribling, how are you? Glad to see you with us, ladies. Kathy, hi. Kathy Leathers, how are you? Kathy Genevieve from Huntsville, Alabama. I'm going to guess it's a lot warmer in Huntsville, Alabama than just about anywhere else in the United States right now. Kathy Genevieve. We are really, really happy. It's going to warm up over the weekend. We can find our driveways and our sidewalks again. And I was just thinking about how much fun it would be to be in school for this one day of this week and then have the weekend off too. Isn't that great? So today's recipe is a cherry barbecue meatball. And the reason I chose this recipe is because you can open and shut the Instant Pot a number of times and cook in different layers of a recipe. And this recipe is from Vanessa at Plaid and Paleo. And I liked this idea of cooking the sauce in the Instant Pot first and then adding the meatballs to it later. Let's talk about the meatballs first. I have a pan of meatballs here, and I'm going to hold them up for you to see them. Now, when I made them earlier this morning, we all tasted them and decided that they were a little flat. And so I suggest that you use your favorite meatball recipe for these meatballs. The sauce is very unique and very, very delicious, but I think the meatballs needed more oomph to them than the original recipe called for. So we have added to the recipe that we'll give to all of you who answer yes. When we ask you, if you say yes, we send you the PDF of the recipe, and I have added salt and pepper to it, but I think you could go even further. You could do, these are pork-based meatballs. You could do part pork and part hamburger, which I think is a delicious taste for a meatloaf or for meatballs. You could use some onion powder, maybe some garlic powder. Go for it with the meatballs because they're the star of the show, and they are great in the flavor of the sauce, but you're going to want to really up your game on the meatballs. So now let's talk about Cindy Redden. It's 34 in Utah. That just seems like 60 to us. We would take our jackets off and play outdoors at 34. Oh, my sister, hello, Sarah. She said they've had no school where they're at all week. It's 40 degrees. Hi, Lori Stribling in Salem, Oregon. Oh my gosh, Micah is still home from school. That is crazy. Hi, Margaret. Glad to see all of you. It's 11 and snowy where Kathy is in Pennsylvania. So those of you who don't live where it's so cold that the air hurts your face, we're all wondering why we do live where the air hurts our face. So let's talk about the sauce. I have in the Instant Pot already made, in the foodie, I've already made the sauce. And I want you to see how delicious this is. What I did is I took an onion and you saute the onion until it's translucent and brown. And then you add your garlic. And remember, always add your garlic at the end because most people do not appreciate the taste of burnt garlic. And if you add the garlic at the same time as you add the onions, you'll end up with burnt pieces of garlic. And so always saute your onions for a few minutes and then add the garlic at the end. Let it saute and become very fragrant for 30, 45, 60 seconds, and then turn off the pot. And at that point, you're going to add tomato sauce, some apple cider vinegar, some mustard, and I want to talk about the mustard that I chose to use today. Here in Michigan, we have Brownwood Acres, and they have a famous cream mustard, and it is super delicious mustard. It is, everyone who ever eats it says, oh, that's my favorite mustard. So I used that mustard today, and 2 bags of cherries, which we are also famous for our cherries here. And so I put in 2 cups of dark Michigan cherries, and you pressure cook that for 5 minutes, okay? And what you end up with is this delicious sauce. I'm hoping that you can see the onions, the cherries are very nicely reduced. And then you add your meatballs. And this is one of those times when, well, I'm going to get my spoon out of the way there. When you are making meatloaf, you can stop the cooking and put the vegetables in it and then continue to cook. You can do that with roasts. You can do that with almost anything that you make in the Instant Pot. There's no reason why you cannot stop and start again. And so that's why I wanted to do this recipe for you today, is to show you that this is perfectly fine to start and stop and start again. And so this is going to be pressure cooked for another 5 minutes once I get all of these guys in here. And I think mine are a little wet, even though they've been in the refrigerator since I rolled them. They're a little wet. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to put my lid back on, and I'm going to make sure that I've got it to sealing before I put it on there. And I'm going to set it to pressure cook for 5 minutes. So, 1, 2, no, let's do this again. Pressure cook for 5 and start. So, what will happen now is that the pressure will make the cherries break down even more, and it will make really, really nice meatballs. And I was impressed with the meatballs. Here, I'm going to hold these up so you can see them too. See how nice and brown they are? I was very impressed that they came out that way. I made the first batch in the Instant Pot, and I am making the second one in the foodie, but it's just so that I can show you in the foodie, just the way that we have our studio set up today. So I was very impressed with how they looked coming out. They're nice, they're dark, and I did not cook the meatballs beforehand. I just put them in the sauce, and they get nice and brown, and they have a delicious flavor. So, hi Robin Van Wormer, how are you? Barbara Nesbitt, Glad to see you. Artist Gray, hey, glad to see you here. Kathy Lacey has a great question about, am I supposed to refrigerate the meatballs before cooking? I did. I made the meatballs first, and then I put them in the refrigerator so that they would better hold their shape. And then I cooked the sauce in the pressure cooker, and now I've just put in the raw meatballs. And like I said, I think the more you put into your meatball, the better this recipe is going to be. I really did not like just the plain meatballs that were in the original recipe, so I think the next time I made them, I would add onion powder, garlic powder, and just really soup up the meatballs because they are going to be the star of the show. The sauce is very, very delicious, so that is always going to be a very good part of this, but I think to really elevate the whole recipe, and especially if you're serving it for a Super Bowl party, you want these to be really, really good. And so concentrate on making your meatballs the best that you can. And the other thing I want to say about this recipe is for the amount of the sauce, you could easily double the number of meatballs. That this recipe, I think the first time I made them, I made 18. The second time I only got 16 from it. And I think you could easily like double that and make a lot more meatballs and still have plenty of sauce left in the pot when you take them out at the other end. So that would just be my advice if you are making them for a big party or you're having some people over on Sunday for the big game. Make double the amount of meatballs per the one recipe of the sauce. So that's a great question, Kathy Lacey. I'm glad that you said that. Hello to Abigail and Eleanor watching from sunny but cold northern Michigan up in Marquette in the Upper Peninsula. Hi Diane Yoakum, glad to see you here. Oh, Kathy Lacey, it's 9 where you are. Yes, that feels like a heat wave to us. Poor people in the Northland. We have been really socked with winter this last week. I will be glad when we're done with this season. So let's talk about the giveaway. One of you who comments with where you are and what the temperature is. Even those of you who are watching us late can do and participate by telling me where you're from and what the temperature is. The idea behind this recipe is that you can cook twice in a row in the pot. And so I've made this sauce first, and I really, even the UPS guy who visited our shop here today said, "What is cooking? It smells so delicious." And I thought that was really great of him to ask what we were cooking today. So the sauce is first. Stop the pot, put in the meatballs, start it again. And you can do that with a lot of different foods. So don't be afraid to stop the pot. Do a quick release of the pressure, take the lid off, check the contents of the pot. Let's say you're doing a roast or a meatloaf and you didn't put the vegetables in first. You can stop the pressure cooking, take off the lid, add the vegetables, and start it again. If your meat isn't done enough the first time that you take your lid off, do it for 10 minutes more. This is so nice to be able to use your pressure cooker in that way. And so this is a great recipe so that you feel comfortable opening and closing the pot. Even though it's hot, you can very safely open the lid, put the second layer of food in, and then cook it again. It's 10 degrees in Miwataka. It's 2 degrees where my friend Margaret is. Boy, we are still having a cold snap here, ladies. Okay, Florida is 54 degrees in Northwest Florida. Debbie, that is amazing, because to me that's cold for Florida. If you would like to get our recipe just answer yes when we ask you. We're happy to send you the PDF of this recipe. Like I said before, you can really soup up this recipe by making the meatballs your own special way. The tastier, the better. I think that they would be much better than the plain recipe that is included. So just know that. And we love your questions, your comments, anything that you would like to see us cook next week. We will be doing more vegetarian food in the month of February. And so let me know if there's something that you'd like for us to cook here in the Cook and Carry kitchen. And as always, as our friend Julia Child used to say, bon appetit.